Well, I like to use this rather nice and detailed plan for courtyard development from one of our users in Queensland. And I like to use it to illustrate the problems or the challenges you can have when you make typo errors, when you make spelling errors of one sort or another. So let's go back to the model here, and what we'll do is go to our layers option and just scroll down here. If you notice, this particular layer has a typo in it. It's obviously meant to be dimensions. It's currently turned off. Let's just turn it on and just see where they are. They're all scattered through the drawing. If we zoom in on them, you might argue that you want to change the dimension style a little. And there's the dimension style. It's left at standard, but if this was a template, you probably want to create a dimension style that suits your way of working. However, to get back to the original comment, we want to change that name. So let's go back to layers, and here we are. Just double click in there and you now have the opportunity to correct that error. So we have it right, L-dimensions. You notice that in this case, the designer has followed the conventions that most of us use in the landscape area, because if you're dealing with passing this drawing to others, you want your layers indicated very easily, and we've prefixed the layer name with L-, and that's an international standard for layering conventions. It certainly helps when you're moving drawings around from architect to designer and so on. The error has now been fixed, but if I simply click OK and we come back there, let's do it again, notice the spelling error hasn't been corrected. So dimensions, take out the T, and then, so rather than just click OK here, to update the actual drawing file itself, you need to hit the Enter key, and I'll do that now. Once I do that and say OK, the next time I come back in here, dimensions has been corrected carefully and correctly. So it's just one extra step, and certainly when you're a beginner working with gCADPlus, that might catch you out. There's another area where the similar problem can arise. Notice here, if I'm in model space now, if I go to a layout space, here it is. But having a space called layout 1 and layout 2 is not ideal. We'd probably, let's see if we can fix that easily. If we select the floating viewport, notice it's a scale of 50 and the scale has been fixed. So we can, in the same way that we corrected the information on layers, we can do the same here. We can select the tab and go to the Layouts Manager, again click in here, and I would encourage a more, notice it's an A2 sheet, so why not say A2 detailed plan, and we'll put the scale in, it's 1 to 50, so we'll say 1 to 50, and hit Enter. Now when we do that and say OK, notice now we've got a tab and a name on that tab that's much more meaningful. And as we add tabs, you might want to add a collection of images of typical plants that are being used and so on. And let's right now take off the dimension layer, and now we've got a cleaner looking drawing to print. So having a series of tabs across the bottom of the screen enables you to quickly go from one print to another. You could even do that on the fly when you're working with the client. So that there's just a little trick when updating the gCADPlus file, the LCD file, and that improves the clarity, I think, of the drawing that you're working on.